Okay. Hello, this is Kelly with Gia's Italian Kitchen. Welcome back to our podcast. And if you're watching on social media, you are seeing this in video. We have a very special guest today, Matthew Catullo from Brooklyn, New York. Thank you so much for being here. He is the chef of Gargiulos restaurant on Coney Island. I'm so honored that you're on my podcast. This is so crazy.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So we are going to chat today about Italian food and family and his restaurant. And Matthew, we have actually a lot of connections that I'm super excited to talk about. So again, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, like I said, happy to be here.
And you're not in your restaurant. Where are you? Are you on vacay?
We're on a little bit of vacation right now. The restaurant's closed for the first about 10 days in July, but we'll be getting right back to it.
Well, that's actually kind of crazy, especially that it's the 250th anniversary of the country. Or is that why you intentionally closed?
Yeah, that's always been kind of part of it. Coney Island is a little bit of a madhouse kind of this weekend, and there's a lot going on between the hot dog eating contest and just the rides, the amusements, the weather and the beach and things like that. So it's a difficult place to get around, kind of, with all this action going on. So for us, it's a little bit of a break. For our customers, they're probably not around this weekend anyway. So that's why we choose this week to take off in the summer.
So do most of your core customers, do they get out of Dodge for a holiday like this?
Yeah, I think most people living in Brooklyn or in the city, they're going out to the Jersey Shore, they're going out to the Hamptons. It's a great vacation weekend. This one, Memorial Day, Labor Day, kind of all of those.
Okay. Well, I was hoping I was going to get some smell-o-vision or something of you in the kitchen, but I'm going to get nothing. I'm going to have to make my own dinner here.
Well, you're going to have to make a trip out to Coney Island then.
I am so excited. Yes, that is on my list to get out there, especially now to come find you. So the restaurant. So it's on Coney Island itself. Is it coming up on 120 years?
Yeah, we're coming up next year. So the restaurant was founded in 1907 by the Gargiulo family, and Coney Island was, the place to be in the 20s and 30s. I always say it was Disneyland before Disneyland. It was Vegas before Vegas. And, the restaurant was booming and things like that. Coney Island then took a little bit of a downturn. Time started to change, and the Gargiulo family was looking to kind of get out of the business. And then in 1965, my great uncles purchased the restaurant, and we've had it ever since. And it was, a little slow in the beginning. But then in 1977, we got 3 stars from the New York Times, which at that point, was kind of unheard of for a restaurant outside of Manhattan to get that kind of recognition. And then in 1983, we added the catering hall. And, you just had everybody, either they went to or they hosted a party in the catering hall throughout the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, to this day. And now my uncles and my aunt are the current owners, and I'm kind of, coming up in the business now.
So how long have you been at the restaurant? Full time?
Full time, a week after I graduated in 2017.
Okay. So
that's
one of our connections. You studied accounting, didn't you?
Yeah, I went for accounting and finance. And
that's awesome. So did I.
I cannot sit behind a desk like this for the rest of my life. And I was just having a conversation with my Uncle Louie, how things were going. And then one thing led to another, and it was pretty much, so you're going to come to work when you're done? And kind of the rest was history. So switched to management, had a great last 2 years. And then, like I said, week after I was done, full time in 2017 in the restaurant.
And haven't looked back.
Haven't looked back.
Good. So you're actually from the Russo family, is that right? Lineage? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So,
and it's so fortunate that we're able to be, all together and work together.
That's so fun.
every day at lunch, we sit down at 2:30 as a family. And in the beginning, I was able to really learn from each one of them. My uncles all have kind of like their area of expertise. My Uncle Mike is the head chef in the kitchen. My Uncle Louis is the numbers guy. My Aunt Ray runs all the catering and events. My Uncle Anthony's in charge of the dining room. And then my Uncle Nino is marketing and public relations. So in the beginning, right after I graduated, I really got a strong foundation from all of them in kind of what they do. Not only just the 30, 40 years experience that they all have. But yeah, I always then, gravitated towards the kitchen.
That is so just heartwarming, because that's like the stories of when we were kids. Like I know I watched that. So by the way, folks, Matthew was on, was it the Today Show or the CBS Morning Show?
Yeah, I've been on the Today Show a couple times and CBS This Morning.
That is amazing. That is so amazing. Congratulations. But it's like nostalgic that like we're all growing up in these Italian families. We all grow up in the kitchen, right? But you're actually still living it as an adult in a restaurant with those people all there, like it's a movie.
Yeah, it really is something special. And, it's important to me to continue our family's traditions and legacies and keep them going into the future.
Yeah. Okay. So so the Russos then are from Sorrento, right? Or
yeah.
Yep. And then the Gargiulos are Naples. Okay.
The Gargiulos are also from Sorrento. So that was kind of, in 65 when we purchased it from them, that was a contributing factor because we were from the same region.
Oh, okay. Okay. So our family is from the Tuscany region. So my grandma was around Pisa, and then my grandpa was this little, mountain town up the Cavey Road, like maybe 2 hours northwest of Florence. So not far from you guys, but we've been there. We've been to your coast, and it's amazing.
I studied abroad in Florence, and it was the best experience ever. Nice. Yeah, it was really, really great. I mean, that city I loved from the beginning, from when I traveled there, as a kid. But, I think it always is going to hold a special place in my heart now, especially living there.
Mm-hmm. And you, of course, have been to Sorrento then.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been up and down Italy. I've been fortunate enough. There's still a lot of places and a couple of regions that I've yet to explore. And, hopefully over the next couple of years, we can start knocking those off the list.
Have you been to Venice?
Been to Venice, yes.
Okay. When people ask me, where should I go? That's the first place I tell them, only because it's sinking. And at some point, they're not going to let people go across, right? So
it's definitely a cool experience, and it's definitely, worth visiting at least one point or another.
Yeah, and it's so cool. I think it's all beautiful though. It's all like everywhere. No matter where you go, just go. Right?
Exactly.
Okay, so food. I looked at like your food gallery. There's some phenomenal photos of like arancini. Although, wait, have you been to Sicily?
That's one of the one places I haven't been.
Okay, so last year when we were there, we went to Sicily, and depending on which East Coast or West Coast of Sicily that you're on, it's either an arancini or an arancino. And if you say it the opposite way, they know where you're from. And then they don't like you.
There's so much dialect, within Southern Italy and Sicily. Everybody's got their own little way of saying things. And like you said, they know exactly where you're from, the way you're saying some words.
Yep. Okay, so you've got that. And I want to talk about the cannolis, but the tiramisu, the baked clams, you highlighted that. And then, but talk about this penne is it Pasqualini?
Pasqualina.
So that's a signature dish of the restaurant. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so in 1983, when we added the catering hall on, we were accustomed to cooking for the dining room, which was, about 120 people, maybe some small parties here or there. But now we were all of a sudden really cooking for the masses, hundreds of people at one time. So my great uncle Mike, he hired a chef from Italy, Carlo Parmigiano, and he came over and he helped us, he trained us how to cook, large scale.
Okay.
One of the dishes that we developed when he came over here was penne pasqualina, and it's zucchini, onion, fresh tomato, prosciutto, and a light cream sauce. And it took off, and that
Sure.
became one of our signature dishes that everybody knows and loves. And I always say, you go to any Italian restaurant, you could get marinara, you could get bolognese, but there's only one place in the world you could get penne pasqualina, and that's at Gargiulos.
That's awesome. So did you modify it at all, or were those list of ingredients exactly what they? Okay.
The pasqualina, and I can tell you so many other dishes, practically the whole menu has been the original, recipes and the way we've done it over so many years. I mean, maybe there's been minor tweaks or changes, plated different, things like that, but the core of everything has stayed the same. And I think that's part of, the longevity that we have, is because we stick to those things.
Yeah. Okay. So, and hopefully you can reveal this. This might be like a trade secret, but what is the light cream sauce that goes in there? Because typically when you're in Italy, the sauces are not creamy, and if they are creamy, it's from the pasta water and the pecorino or the parmigiana.
Yep.
It's not actual dairy. So can you tell us?
There is heavy cream. There's definitely heavy cream in there, but like you said, when you mix the parmigiano and the pasta water, it all comes together in the perfect bite.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so then the other thing I wanted to ask you about that you mentioned in one of your other interviews was the chicken parm. So that, my understanding is, because there are so many dishes, like a chicken Alfredo, which does not exist in Italy. It's Italian American, right? And there's a lot of those. So is the chicken parm an Italian American dish?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, absolutely. And, I've had this conversation a bunch. You have to realize that when Italians immigrated here from Italy, they brought their principles and their knowledge of how to cook. But the ingredients that were accessible to them back at home weren't necessarily accessible here in New York, New Jersey, or wherever they may have, landed. They took those principles and adapted to what they had. And chicken parmesan is one of those dishes, that's kind of adapted, because the only real parmigiana in Italy is eggplant parmesan.
Right.
So they took those kind of principles, changed it to the chicken, which they had. And, that's kind of how a lot of these Italian American dishes developed, is, what was available. And that's really the core and the foundation of Italian cooking, is using the ingredients from your town or from your region that are available to you.
Yes. One of my favorite of the local stories, we were staying in a little villa west of Florence a few years ago, and there was a whole patch as you walked into the bar in town of wild artichokes. And so just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like right there.
That. Yep.
Unreal. Okay. So, well, aside from like the amazing dishes that are at your restaurant, what is your favorite dish to make or eat at home?
To make or eat at home? That's a good one. I'm going to say, and this is, I don't know if it's a cop-out or not, but I just love like my mom's Sunday sauce. Like just with the meatballs and the sauce, like I just crave that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say when she makes that, like, because she took over the role from my grandmother and she's got it down pat. So that's kind of my favorite to eat at home, especially when I do get to go back home. I'll always ask for that. Either that or chicken cutlets. Like those are two like typical Italian American things that I love.
Yep. Well, it's nostalgic, right? And it like brings you back to your childhood. It makes you feel all happy.
1,000%.
Yeah. So, of course, you have her recipe, but when you make it, does it not turn out the same as when she makes it?
You know what the thing is? I'm at the restaurant 7 days a week, so I'm never really making that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I think it's a little also, like you said, I know she makes it, so I look forward to that. Yeah. It's that nostalgia, and it's damn good.
Yeah. No, I hear you. That's if someone, when people ask me that, that's probably my top is the marinara, but with homemade revs, and making the dough, making the filling, doing this. That's for me. That's like I remember my grandma is making
and those
the
are the best
assembly
memories.
line of revs. Yep. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so the cannoli. It seems like you have a trick to making a perfect cannoli. I mean, they're messy, right? Of course, you've got the frying and all the blah, blah, blah. But once you do it, it's not that hard, or is it? What's your trick?
I can't give you all the secrets, but what I can tell you is I learned from our cousin, Mike the Bake, who was the pastry chef in the restaurant for over 40 years. And he was coming in, on a semi-retired basis once a week. When I started full time, I realized and recognized, when he's fully retired, how are we going to do this, right? We're not going to go out and buy the shells. We're not going to go out and buy the cream, any of the desserts and things like that. Like, we've got to continue this. So, that was my thing. And you got this young, naive kid coming out of college saying, I'm going to learn and things like that. So I told my family and they all gave me like, yeah, okay. And then I approached Mike and he said, okay, if you want to learn, you got to watch. So he would, take a scoop of flour and throw it in the mixing bowl. And you got to remember, there's no measurements, right? It's a scoop. It's a handful. It's a shovel. It's this, it's that. Yep. So he'd throw something in the bowl and then he'd go take a lap around the kitchen. He'd talk to the next person. And that would be 5-10 minutes, come back, put the next ingredient in, disappear again. I made sure I stuck right by that mixing bowl and table. That was a couple months. And then all of a sudden, he started putting everything in front of me. And that lasted a couple months. And then soon it was, okay, Shkrib, write down in his broken English, this many eggs, this many handfuls of flour, this much sugar. And that was a couple months. And then we were really working together and he was teaching me, this happens why, this happens because if you add too much of this, all the kind of ins and outs that I needed for not only the cannoli, but the cheesecake, all the holiday recipes, the pastira, and then we'd hop on the line after, so he really helped me, kind of elevate me to where I am. I always say my grandfather is the one that instilled the passion and Mike the Bake is the one that took me to kind of where I am. But I think the secret is all about balance, right? You have this shell and then the ricotta. You just want the right balance between the cream and the crispy kind of shell. So I can't give away all my secrets, but I'll tell you that much.
Is there a secret to piping it?
Everybody's kind of got their own little method, whether it be a piping bag or, a spoon or things like that. I think a lot of it comes down to how you grew up or how you learned doing it. Where your family or the bakery or wherever, the place may be in Italy that kind of taught you. We've always kind of used a piping bag with a star tip and give it a little extra flair to it.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I love them, but I don't make them very often because it's a mess. But
it's a lot of work.
They're delicious. So at the restaurant, you have the main dining room. You have this event space. Do you do cooking classes?
We've done one. We did one years ago. We haven't done one since. It's something that's kind of on my mind. That maybe sometime in the future I would like to do. I have a friend of the family who has the Gustavus Cooking School in the city. So I'm hoping, soon I'll be able to link up with him and then do one in the city. And then, maybe we can bring one back to the restaurant. So it's on the back of my mind. It's something that I would eventually like to get to and accomplish. And, hopefully it'll be sooner rather than later.
When you have time.
Which is hard to come by lately, but yeah.
Well, that's kind of what I do is in-person and virtual cooking classes. So I don't cater. I don't have a restaurant. But like you, I grew up in the kitchen with my grandma and I love doing that teaching aspect of it. So when you get that going, would you let me know so I can come out for the inaugural
Absolutely.
class?
Absolutely.
That'd be so fun. And I
Yeah,
won't take
that'll
over,
be
but I
great.
would love to be there. That'd be so
Yeah,
fun.
that would be really special. We'll make that happen.
Okay, deal. Okay, so you talked about the scribe. Do you write any of these down, or do you really just keep them in your head? Because when my grandma was, she's not alive anymore, but I was doing the same thing. Show me this, show them over and over again.
Yeah.
And I was writing it down because she had none of it written down.
I have a lot of them, not all of them. Um, it's funny if I look back at like the pastira, let's just say, and that, he taught me, over the course of a, let's say, 4-year time period, the cannoli and everything we were doing weekly, right? So that just became second kind of nature. But pastira you make once a year. So I look back at some of the recipes that I wrote down, and not one of them are the same. And he was just, like I said, there was no measurements.
Yeah.
Everything was by taste, by eye, by feel. And that's what he taught me. You know what I mean? So when I make all of these dishes and things like that, even when I'm baking, a majority of the time, I'm not using a scale or cups or anything like that. I'm doing it the way that he taught me. And, it took me, 1 or 2 years to really nail down where I was happy with it and kind of, okay, this is what it was. Because I remembered the taste. I remembered the feel and kind of what it was supposed to look like. But I was looking back at all those, those 4 little notes that I wrote down. And I'm like, not one of these is the same. So, there's a good amount that I do have written down. But a lot of them, are still stuck up here, and I'm the only one in the family that has them. So I always joke they got to keep me around for a little longer.
Yeah. Well, and the ones that are written down, you probably have a safe back there, right?
Yeah, if they're in a secret stored location, password, lock, combination, all of that.
So no cookbook is coming out anytime soon.
Well, maybe not with the secrets, but hopefully soon we'll have something available. But
yeah, you have something going?
Well, maybe we'll see.
Okay.
I'm working on it. I'm laying the foundation right now, and I promise you'll be one of the first to know.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I've been writing a cookbook memoir myself that I'm hoping in the next couple of years, but it does reveal some of my grandma's recipes. So I do not have them under lock and key, but I don't own a big restaurant like you do. So, okay. So the other thing that I notice is when you start, you're always like, andiamo. Where did that, it's adorable, which means, come on, let's go. Where did that come from that you always say that? Did your grandpa used to say that?
No, you know what? It was just one of those things. I think in the beginning when I was, kind of getting into making these videos, I'm doing everything by myself. So, the filming, the editing, the camera work, and then, the cooking kind of on screen. And learning all of those things, and then learning, how to translate that into an actual video for social media. It was a long process, for me. I'm not the biggest social media guy, when it comes to personal life and things like that. And, to really learn this thing, it took a lot of research and trial and error. And I just felt like I needed something kind of in the beginning, just, like a little signature moment or things like that. And I was working on different things and, trying different things with some of these videos. And then, at one point I was like, this spaghetti, garlic, and oil is great for you, andiamo. And like, I was like, oh, wait, you know what? I think I like that. I think I might be onto something. And then kind of, played around with it a little bit more and started getting, comfortable with that. And all of a sudden it kind of took off, and you'll see all my friends, customers in the restaurant coming in saying andiamo and things like that. So that's the one that kind of stuck. And, I think it's a great saying too. So I'm happy with that one.
So of those customers, do you have like a table where the little old lady and her husband have been coming to your restaurant for decades, and they always get that table?
Yeah, there's quite a bit of that. We've got some, to be honest with you, we've got the best customers in the world, and they've stood by us for years, and they continue to show up, and I think that really is a testament to what my uncles and my aunt have built for so many years to create kind of the environment that people want to come back and enjoy. And like I said, my Uncle Mike, the head chef in the kitchen, keeping these guys going to make sure the food stays consistent and like we've always done. So I think that's a big part of it. But yeah, there are countless families, couples, everybody that'll come in, and we know what they like and we know what they enjoy. So we try and make it a point to make them happy.
So do you like a speakeasy or something? Do you have a tab, or do people have to pay for their dinner every night?
People are paying. It's not enough for profit business. I'll tell you that much.
Well, if they're a good enough customer, you may have like a secret tab over here that they'll pay you when they get around to it.
Like I said, we're not non-for-profit.
No, I'm kidding. Okay, so that leads me into this other question that is also a connection. So Al Capone is buried in the cemetery in Chicago that my grandparents are buried in.
Oh, wow.
And legend has it that he was born in Brooklyn, but legend has it that he used to work at Gargiulos. Is that a thing?
It is. Legend has it. Yeah, we're pretty sure that it's a true story. It's well before my time, but that's definitely something that's in the history books.
No pictures, though?
Not of him.
No proof. Okay.
And I think he's happy with that.
Yeah, probably. Although he was unknown at that time because he was probably like a teenager. So who was going to take pictures of the busboy or whoever he was at the time? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, so it's 4th of July. My family is coming into town for the weekend. So my mom drove in. Can she say hi?
Yeah, of course.
She's sitting here watching.
Hi, Mom. How are you? Nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you, too. Your story sounds so familiar. I mean, that's the way I grew up. That's the way Kelly grew up.
Yeah, right? We got to keep it going. That's my job.
For sure. Good food and good talk and good family.
So Tell them your maiden name.
My maiden name is Lenzini. Lenzini.
Lenzini, okay.
And my mother's maiden name was Tanucci.
And then your cousin is Gambini.
Gambini, right? And Galassini. So yeah, it's all.
Yeah, she's a full blood.
You got everybody.
Blood. Are you a full blood?
That's great.
Are you full blood?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Kelly, unfortunately,
I know I'm only half.
A little bit of Irish and Scotch in her, but the best part is the Italian.
Yep. There you go.
Of course. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Well, nice meeting you, Mom.
Well, good to meet you too, and good luck with your restaurant. It sounds wonderful.
Thank you. And if you ever come to New York, you know where to eat.
Well, definitely. I mean, we were just talking about maybe taking a trip to Maine, but I mean, as long as
via Brooklyn.
There you go.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Okay. Well, let me finish with him. And okay. So Chef Matthew, tell us something about the restaurant that you want folks to know that we haven't talked about yet.
I just think, it's such a piece of New York history that it's worth experiencing. My like I said, it's a real testament to my family for keeping it going and, working so hard for so many years, and very proud of what they've accomplished and continue to accomplish, and so proud to be a part of that and to hopefully keep it going and keep the legacies and the traditions going. And if you ever visit us, it's one thing for sure, I promise you won't go hungry.
Yeah, right. I know, but when we have people over sometimes, so my husband's German, and we'll have a dinner party, and he's like, I don't think we have enough food. And I'm like, have you met me?
Yeah.
I promise you, nobody is going to be hungry.
Yep.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I did forget to ask this other question because I have tried many times to make octopus. Have you? So we had that a lot in Sicily, and it was, you know, they marinate it, and it's so simple: olive oil, lemon juice. They're grilling it, but they probably boil it for a long time beforehand to tenderize it. Have you?
Yep.
Have you done it? Because every time I do it, it sucks.
Yeah, so we have a couple different dishes that utilize kind of, you know, the octopus, whether it be grilled octopus or in the fish salad, or we do an octopus salad. So that's definitely a key step in kind of making sure that it stays tender.
Is the boil.
Yep.
How long do you boil it? Can you tell me?
About 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Maybe I boiled it too long. I don't know. Or maybe I got crappy octopus. I don't know.
Being in Iowa, I don't know, you know.
Right. So in Sicily, they're catching it in the morning, and
and then
it's on the grill.
In the pot of water, you know,
a
couple hours later.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my gosh. Well, I have just had the most amazing time talking with you. This has been so much fun. Anything else that you can tell us, like tricks on how? Or like, should people be making reservation months in advance when they get there?
You cut out just for 1 second there.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
I was going to say when people come to visit you, did they need reservations like months in advance?
Not months in advance, but definitely make a reservation. You know, that's always definitely preferred. And like I said, it's worth experiencing one time. It's a piece of New York history, and you know, we're always happy to welcome first-time customers.
Okay, I'm gonna email you when I am on my way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can come see you.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, we will post like the website and all the things in the notes and comments of all the socials. So I'm gonna put this everywhere. So whether you guys are watching on video or podcast, we're gonna blast this everywhere. So
you got all my socials at MatthewCutolo.com, at Matthew Cutolo, and then you got my website, MatthewCutolo.com. Got a bunch of recipes and everything like that. And then everything is at Gargiulos restaurant. So
awesome. Well, thank you again for joining me today. And Matthew Cutolo with Gargiulos restaurant in Brooklyn on Coney Island. Kelly with Gia's Italian Kitchen. So please, at a minimum, go to all of our social medias and like and follow and comment and share. Do all those things because you're going to help both of us grow, right? And reach all of the crazy social media world that we live in today. So thank you. It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you. And I'll see you in the restaurant hopefully soon.
Awesome.
Thank you
Have
so
a good
much.
vacation. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.